Here's the truth. You don't need a large audience. When your content converts, you can make sales even if you have a small audience. I know, super exciting. This is exciting for small creators everywhere or people who are just getting started. But the key is you do need the right people and you need the right message. So a few weeks ago, I hosted a webinar that only had 25 people on it, but resulted in 67,000 of sales. How did I do that? Keep watching if you wanna know how I did it and what you should stop doing if you wanna do it too. Welcome back. My name is LaTisha, founder of You've Got Clients, where we help coaches fill their coaching programs with high quality clients. And we do that even if you have a small audience or you're just getting started. A lot of our clients, honestly, they already have experience and expertise in their area. So we have a client who has built a business, a multi-million-dollar business in the trucking industry, and she came to me because she wanted to create a course to teach other clients how to build their own trucking business. But the problem is, she didn't have an audience. So what do we do? And how do we help her get her first couple of sales and people on the phone asking about her program? And also, how was I able to convert multiple 5 figures of sales from a live training that I did that only had 25 people on it? Honestly, y'all, I was surprised as well. I'll be honest. But here's the key to this, and here's what you need to stop doing if you also want to sell more of your services and you want to do it even if you have a small audience. Step 1, stop following the advice of big name marketers. Now, I understand that they're everywhere, right? You see their ads everywhere. They're like, hey, sign up for this, 5-day thing. And you're like, yes, I'm gonna sign up and I'm gonna do exactly what they say. But here's the thing. A lot of times that the strategies and things that they're teaching really apply to someone who has a large audience. And I made this mistake for several years because I tried to follow exactly what they were doing and kind of like funnel hack and look at what they were doing and replicate it. And my thought was, oh, okay, well, I need a large audience. So that's what I started doing. I started going down the path of like building a large audience, getting a lot of people on my email list and getting ready to have this, big, huge launch. And then there was like one day where I just took a step back and I realized, I actually have the biggest impact when I work with a small handful of clients. And also, I've never had to force any of my clients to come and sign up with me. In general, the majority of clients who come to work with me, especially the ones who come to work with me one-on-one, they contact me because they found me, usually on YouTube. They've watched several of my videos, they vibe with me, and they can tell that I can help them go to where they want to go and get to where they want to get. And they usually just come and say, hey, okay, which program do you have and can I sign up? So I've never had to do any sort of like forceful selling or anything like that. And so when I really started evaluating like, LaTisha, what do you do? Like, how do you attract those clients in? Honestly, I'm always like, well, it's not by doing the things that all these big name marketers were doing. I've always just been really clear on who I serve and also how I can help them. So sometimes if I get distracted, things can get a little bit muddled. Like if I start paying attention to what someone else is doing, or if I start thinking that there's like this this new thing that maybe I haven't tried that I should do. And like, that's usually what causes me to slow things down. And so I want to help you with this also, which is you remember that you don't have to do what anyone else does. You have a specific method that works for you. And once you determine and figure out what that is, then you're gonna be able to move so much faster. And I'll tell you this, it's likely not gonna be as a result of following what a lot of other people are telling you to do. The key is to start learning how to trust yourself. But honestly, like usually that happens after you've tried a couple of different things. It's kind of like, you gotta kiss a few frogs in order to find your prince. That's the idea. So what I would recommend that you do is I would recommend that you pay attention to your own buying process. How do you buy? What do you like to do? What is your learning process? What's your decision-making process? It's very likely that the clients you tend to attract will be very similar. For example, my decision-making process involves, I see somebody that I'm interested in and I take some time to watch a lot of their content. If I can't find video content from that person, it's much more difficult for me to make a decision because I'm an empath and I get a vibe from someone from more than just their voice. I look at their facial expressions. There's I don't even honestly know how I do it, but there's a way that I can really tell if this person is someone that I would vibe with. And I watch a couple of pieces of their content. I research to see if I can find any longer trainings that they've done because I want to see their teaching style. How do they teach? What's their process? How do they answer questions? For example, there was one mentor that I was looking at and I found her, a lot of people have been talking about her. And so I found her, I purchased one of her lower ticket programs, which was like $500. And I started going through the material and then I listened to the Q&A calls. And on the Q&A calls, I didn't really like how she responded to clients. And I understand that it probably worked well for her, but she was just very short and abrupt and almost to the point of being a little rude. And I remember thinking, man, I would be very scared to ask a question if I knew that I was gonna feel a little belittled when I asked the question. And so I didn't make any additional investments with her. So I feel like I've gone on a little bit of a tangent, but the key is you've got to figure out what works for you and what your decision-making process is. And then it'll be that much easier for you to create an environment where your clients are interested to buy. Which is why when I hosted the webinar, I did it just really chill. I didn't have a whole lot of slides. I did a couple of slides up through like my introduction, just so I could kind of get into the vibe and really just kind of relax a little bit. And then from there, we just kind of sat and we chatted and, you know, I asked for comments and shares and things like that. And I did my pitch at the end. Second thing that you need to do is stop blending in. So the truth is you don't need to niche harder. A lot of people think like, I need to, you know, nail my niche. I need to like get really like niche down and et cetera, et cetera. But you are the niche. There's multiple people who do what I do. There's a lot of different people who help coaches fill their coaching programs, who help coaches create marketing systems, who help coaches get clear on their message. There's a lot of people who do what I do. And it can be easy to get intimidated by that and think, well, I need to like niche down and say, oh, well, I only help financial coaches to, you know, fill their coaching programs. But the truth is that the person who wants to work with me wants to work with me versus wanting to work with the next person who's doing the same thing and the next person who's doing the same thing. And the thing is that when you recognize that and you own your zone of genius, you can stand out instead of blending in. And the key to do this is you have to assume the throne. You have to stop looking at everybody else and comparing yourself and saying, I wish I was there, because you have a zone of genius. You have something, that greatness inside of you, that your clients are coming to work with you. And there's a reason that they want to work with you versus working with someone else. I remember there was a client that I was working with and I asked him, like, why did you choose to work with me over working with someone else? Because at the time, I was just getting started. Like, why would you want to hire me when there's all these other people who can show you, you know, how to raise your rates and create a marketing system? And I remember what he said, and he told me that I want to work with you because you're not too far off from the result that I want to create. And so I feel like the other people that I've been looking at, they're so far away from what I want to do that it would be so much more difficult to learn from them. Now, that was his belief. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter. What matters is there's a reason that clients want to work with you. And once I heard that, that was new for me. I thought like, oh, wow, like it is good that I stop and turn around and teach as soon as I've learned something. Like it is good that I don't wait until I've been crowned or that I've been put on this pedestal. Like I move forward with teaching what I know. And once I started realizing that, it made it a lot easier for me to say, okay, like if you want to work with me, this is what we do. I can't help you with, you know, XYZ, or, you know, I'm not sure if I can help you with that, but I know that I can help you with this. And I stopped worrying about blending in and I started standing out in my own energy. And that's what you have to do as well. And this is really the key to unlocking your premium value, because when you see yourself where you should be as that leader and you see yourself as really like as God sees you, when you see yourself as that, it makes it that much easier for you to recognize your worth. It makes it that much easier for you to raise your rates. It makes it that much easier for you to speak to a premium client and not feel like, oh, I'm asking for all this stuff. It's like, no, all you're doing is providing an exchange of energy, and they can sign up if they want or they cannot. If not you, then the next person, right? Like you've got to have that confidence inside of you. And if you don't have that yet, it's probably because you haven't yet decided to assume the throne. All right, next lesson I learned is stop being the cheapest. Now, this lesson goes in with the first one as well as the second one. And once I leaned more into my nature, I realized that I was speaking to clients and trying to attract people that were very dissimilar, not similar, they were dissimilar from me. I've never been attracted to the cheapest. Whenever I'm presented with two options, I always go for the higher price option. Why? Just because I believe that I get to have the best of everything. And sometimes the higher price option is not always the better option, but it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is that me making that investment of that higher price option is me telling myself, you're worth it. And so like, as I'm putting things out there and I'm trying to like accommodate or trying to make the prices so that they're accessible, I'm basically trying to attract a person that's not like me. And so it becomes much more difficult. And it's the reason why I've been able to sell my 5-figure offer like much easier than selling a $97 offer or $27 offer. It's because I'm not really the $27 person. Like sometimes I'll buy those here and there, but not only do I not do anything with them, I usually only buy them when I'm trying to test out the person and I'm ready to make a larger investment, but I'm just not quite sure yet. So therefore, like, why am I spending all my time and energy and effort trying to market to people who are not like me? So if you think about this, maybe it's different for you, but if you're the type of person that always goes for the VIP experience, or you want to, maybe you're not quite there yet, but if you're that type of person that's always gonna stretch just a little bit so that you can do the things that give you that sense of I'm worth it and like I can do this, right? If you're that type of person and you're trying to market to people who are not the same, it's probably the reason why your offer is struggling. So when I talk about like creating a premium offer, creating a 5-figure offer, it's not just because, okay, well, this is one of the easiest ways for you to get to multiple 5-figure months and get to your multiple 6-figure years and 7 figures, et cetera, et cetera. It's not just because of that. It's also because you're doing yourself a disservice if you're trying to charge based on the other person's pocket. You don't know their pocket, but you know how you shop, you know how you invest, you know how you spend, but you're trying to do something different. So keep that in mind. And then the final thing is I had to start crafting my content from new energy. So the final lesson I learned about how to convert, even if you have a small audience or just a couple people on a live stream or a webinar or whatever it is that you have to create your content from new energy. If you're still creating your content just like everybody else with like 3 ways to X or 5 tips to, XYZ, you're still really blending in and you're not feeling strong and rooted in your message. My message is that you are a powerful creator. It's time for you to assume the throne, see the greatness that's inside of you, and that is what you're putting out there. As a messenger, you have a message to deliver. And if my content doesn't reflect that, then it's time for me to create content from new energy. So this is why when I created that training and I hosted that training, the energy that I had on that training was more of an energy of it's time for you to stop playing small. And this is why we had calls that were booked after the training. We had clients who got started. We had clients who are now seeking financing so that they can come into the program. Like, this is why you've got to create your content from new energy. And if you're having trouble with this and you're like, well, I don't know how to create content, then you want to watch this video that I did on easy content strategies for coaches. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.